You ever think about how the first hammer was made? Like, if you need tools to make tools, how did we make the first tool? It's this weird chicken and egg problem that sounds impossible when you really think about it. Because look around you right now. Everything you own was made by a machine. That machine was made by another machine. That machine was made by an even bigger machine. It's machines all the way down. So how did ancient humans with literally nothing build the first thing? Here's why this matters. Every product you've ever touched, your phone, your car, even the fork you ate breakfast with, exists because someone thousands of years ago figured out how to make something from nothing. No instruction manual, no factory, no Home Depot, just dirt, rocks, and a brain that was probably thinking about lunch. And the answer to how they did it is way simpler and way weirder than you'd expect. Okay, so let's follow the journey of the very first tool. Imagine you're a human like 50,000 years ago. You're standing in a forest, you need to cut something, maybe a branch, maybe a piece of meat, doesn't matter. You look down, there's a rock. Not a special rock, just a rock, but it's kinda sharp on one edge. You pick it up, you smash it against another rock, a piece chips off. Now it's sharper. Congratulations, you just made a knife. No machines, no precision, just two rocks and violence. This is the secret. Humans didn't need tools to make the first tool. Nature already made the tools. We just had to notice them and make them slightly better. But here's where it gets interesting. That sharp rock, you can use it to cut a stick. Now you've got a sharp rock and a pointy stick. You tie them together with some vine or animal tendon, boom, you've got a spear. You didn't need a factory to make the spear. You needed the rock to make the stick and the stick to hold the rock. It's bootstrapping. You use what you have to make something better. Then you use that to make something even better. But this still doesn't explain metal, because metal tools aren't just lying around in nature. You can't just pick up a bronze sword off the ground. So how did humans figure out how to make metal without already having metal tools? Here's the weird part. Early metals like copper are actually soft, like really soft, softer than some rocks. So ancient humans could literally hammer copper with stone tools, just beat it into shape like clay. They didn't need advanced machinery, they needed a rock and a lot of patience. But then someone noticed something crazy. If you leave copper in a really hot fire, like in a pit filled with burning wood and clay, it melts. And when it cools down, it's harder. This was probably an accident. Some guy throws copper into a fire pit, walks away, comes back, and the copper is a puddle. He's like, well, that's weird. He pours it into a hole in the sand, it cools, now it's shaped like the hole. Boom, casting is invented. No one planned this. No one sat down and said, I shall invent metallurgy. Someone just got lucky and paid attention. Now this is where it gets wild, because once you have fire and clay, you can make a kiln. A kiln is just a really hot oven made of baked clay. But wait, how do you bake the clay to make the kiln? You use fire, just regular fire. You shape the clay into bricks. You stack them. You light a fire inside. The fire hardens the clay. The hardened clay makes a better oven. The better oven gets hotter. The hotter oven melts better metals. It's the same bootstrapping loop. Each tool makes the next one possible. And here's the counterintuitive part that blows people's minds. Precision machines, like the kind that make computer chips or car engines, were built entirely by hand. No joke. The first precision lathe was made by a guy with files and hammers, slowly grinding metal surfaces flatter and flatter over months. He used that slightly flat surface to make a flatter surface, then used that to make an even flatter surface. It's absurdly tedious, but it works. You don't need a perfect machine to make a perfect machine. You just need a slightly better than terrible machine and a lot of stubbornness. So let's compare this to how we think manufacturing works today. We imagine factories as these pristine temples of precision. Everything's automated, everything's perfect. But that's only because someone, somewhere, spent years hand-filing a piece of metal until it was flat enough to make the machine that makes the machines. It's like building a ladder out of air. You start with nothing, make something terrible, use the terrible thing to make something less terrible, and repeat until you've got a spaceship. Ancient humans didn't need instructions. They needed curiosity and accidents. Someone left clay near a fire. It got hard. Huh, let's do that on purpose. Someone dropped sand into molten copper. It turned into glass. Weird, let's do that again. Every major invention started as a mistake that someone noticed. And the tools didn't come from genius, they came from iteration. You use your hands to shape a rock. You use the rock to shape wood. You use the wood to make fire. You use the fire to melt metal. You use better tools to make machines. Each step is simple. The whole ladder is what's incredible. So here's the answer. Humans created the first product by starting with literally nothing but their hands and stuff they found on the ground. Rocks, sticks, clay, fire. They didn't need factories, they needed patience and the ability to notice when something weird happened. Then they used that first crappy tool to make a slightly less crappy tool. And they did that for thousands of years until we got iPhones. It's not magic, it's just iteration. The first product wasn't made by machines. It was made by monkeys with thumbs who got bored and started smashing rocks together. And honestly, that's way cooler than any factory.